Well, welcome everybody to Unregulated Leadership podcast and TV. We have the incredible Dr. Tuesday, who it's true, like we wouldn't be here without you. You're incredible. We just think so highly of you. And so I'm very honored to get to be here with you today.
I'm honored to be voluntold.
We did have a little joke where
That was so funny.
she's our field placement supervisor, and we were talking about the podcast and
In the leadership seminar.
a leadership seminar. And I said it would be great to have you on the podcast, and then I put her name on the list as TBC.
And then I get the schedule and I'm like, why am I on here? Like, oh, I guess I'm doing it then.
She said the TBC was very small.
I didn't see it.
Anyway, we are so excited to have you on today. And as Lavanya said, we're going to be talking about the human side of leadership. So the struggles, the joys, the triumphs, what makes a leader, and who is the person behind the title. So we're super pumped to have you. So are you ready for some questions?
I'm ready, and I didn't read them.
Oh, perfect.
On purpose.
I love
On
that.
purpose.
Okay, great.
Yep.
I love that.
Yep.
So can you tell us a little bit about like who you are outside of work, at work? Just give us the rundown on Dr. Tuesday.
I am work. I work all of the time. So much so that my daughter at one point when she was like 4 had a little doll baby on a carriage. And she walked the carriage over to me and she said, "You need to watch the baby because I have a meeting." And I'm like, what? Like, I didn't know that it transferred in that way, right? But that's all she saw. And she's with me now over at the hotel. She knows, that's what I do. I'm an Aquarius. And that matters because I really am an Aquarius. People in some ways think I'm aloof when they don't really get to know who I am. But I think one of the ways of getting to know who I am is actually being in class with me, because we have conversations and share, and it comes out when I work. This space is my happy place. WJC is my happy place. And, for all my colleagues on my other job who may see this, they're going to be very surprised by that. Because it's not them. But this is worldwide now. That is. Yeah. No, in all seriousness, this is my retirement job, right? I really like being here and will be here for as long as they allow me to. I'm committed to working to help people learn and to help people mostly learn about themselves. Because I think once you know yourself, you can then find your space and place in the world, right? You can travel, you can get to know other people, but if you don't know yourself, you don't know where you fit. So that's why I teach a little differently, in leadership courses, because y'all can get the theory in a whole bunch of different places, right? But really knowing who you are, how you tick. I joke about being an Aquarius, but when you think about it, our bodies are mostly made up of water, right? So why wouldn't the moon sort of regulate and affect who we are? And people look and say, "You're really intelligent. Why would you think that?" Right? Because people don't really look at astrology, but yeah. I'm a mom of a 15-year-old who's incredibly bright. And I'm really proud of that. She's surpassing me already in math, which is amazing. I'm a lover of the United States Constitution, which surprises people a lot. I'm passionate about learning. I think I already said that. I'm passionate about justice. I think that's it.
I love that. And all of those things do come through in your teaching style. I love that because I felt like when we took your class, I understood those things after we left, which I think is such a beautiful example of you just sharing who you are to help us understand also who we are. Like those things do matter. I think that's pretty incredible. I love your style. I'm like, I want to be in any class that you teach because I love it. That's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing a little bit about you. I know that every career and every story has peaks and valleys, and sometimes you're here, sometimes you're here. But those, valleys can be sometimes the most like pivotal moments.
Absolutely.
So if you think back, like in your life, what are some of those pivotal moments that have led you to like right here?
Led me to right here. So most of you know I used to practice law, and that was very interesting. I grew up wanting to be a lawyer, never wanted to be a teacher. It wasn't, in my frame of reference. And I had one of my good girlfriends was teaching at Springfield College, and she couldn't go to class one day and asked me to substitute for her. And so the minute I walked into that classroom, it was an 8-hour class. The minute I was done, I knew I wouldn't practice law again.
Whoa.
Because it was it had that much of an impact on how I saw the world, really. And it was all adult learners. And that started on this trajectory, right? The legal field was interesting to me because what I wanted to do was help people not need me, right? And unfortunately, when you don't have clients, people see that as problematic, right? So as a criminal defense attorney, it's like, why are you doing this? Like, it's easy enough, like, not to break the law, right? Or look, don't get caught. I mean, let's just be real. As when I did landlord-tenant, I would try to figure out why my clients got into trouble. So you're giving your landlord cash. Let's not do that, right? Or let's get a receipt or something like that. And I remember one time they told me I wasn't clocking enough hours because my clients weren't coming back. They didn't need me anymore. Like, they were doing what they needed to do not to get evicted, It was that on top of a lot of other things, including that one experience of teaching that just led me to do this. So I went back and got another degree and started teaching. I remember, you want the down and dirty?
Yes, 100%. Everyone in the crowd, yes.
So I remember teaching someplace and I was stalked by a colleague, and he was a well-respected individual, and no one believed me. And I had to leave that place because I wasn't always Dr. Cooper, and my family has no other doctors in it, so we were about to have a problem.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that was one interesting incident. And there was totally a power dynamic involved. Yeah. White male, little bit, probably about 10 years older than me, but well established, well respected. So of course it wasn't him. Another time I was recruited to be a high-level administrator at a for-profit college. And this was during the time when the for-profits were getting into trouble with doing illegal activities. And I had noticed some things going on. I'm like, y'all can't do this, right? And nobody listened. And I got a call from the AG of Massachusetts. And I said, there's no reason for the Attorney General to be calling me. Like, what is going on? So I ended up having to, I was not accused of anything, but they were questioning people who had worked there to see what kind of information and evidence they could get. And I'm like, look, y'all don't have to ask me twice because I don't look good in orange. So I said what I had to say. They got the information they needed to get. And within probably 3 weeks, I was terminated.
Oh my God.
And I'm not dumb. I knew why I was terminated. but they said it was for poor performance. And the interesting thing is that when the students found out because they saw I had a little white box and they saw me going to my car with my little white box, they went completely off. And I'm still Facebook friends with some of these students today, right? Because we just bonded. You learn how to do things differently. You support people. The students want to be supported in any way that they can. I'm happy to announce that school is no longer open.
Whoa.
Students got money back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that went well. Another situation that isn't totally resolved, what I will say, is being the recipient of some racism and sexism as an academic administrator. Yeah, lots of racism and sexism. Being told I'm not qualified to do certain positions, not qualified to be on faculty. Yeah.
So those are heavy moments.
Oh, yeah.
Where you have choices and decisions
Yep,
to make.
absolutely.
And you could be in a ball crying on the floor, which is totally valid.
Yep.
But there has to be a point where you choose to move forward, right? And
yeah.
obviously, because you're here.
Pick yourself up off the floor.
Right. So
yeah.
I would be curious to know, how'd you do that? Were there moments that looked the same in each of those instances?
So I have this kid and she has to eat, right?
Yeah.
And she has to dance and she has to have a roof over her head. So there are sometimes when you have to make decisions where you can't necessarily move because you have responsibilities. And so what you have to weigh is how much you're going to be able to take in order to take care of your family, right? Or in order to be able to take care of yourself. And so for a while, I'd wake up in the morning, be in a ball on the floor, and you got to get up before the kid gets up because you don't want her seeing you on the floor.
Yeah.
And you get yourself together and you go to work and you take whatever punches come and then you go home, cry in the car, and then you get up and get the kid and you keep it moving. There were many days like that. There's no reason to suggest that there weren't, but they weren't going to get me, right? I'm too strong for that. And I have to be there for her. I have to be there for y'all. So I would leave that job and then come here. And it all worked out well. You have to make decisions about how you want to move forward in the world, right? And I think the deal breaker for me was, the hair falling out, the other physical manifestations of the stress. And when they become very visible, that's when you kind of have to deal with that, right? So I choose not to live that life anymore. And at some point you do make that choice. I'm just not going to do this anymore. So I'm no longer an academic administrator. There's no reason for me to be an academic administrator. Let somebody else do it.
Yeah.
So I just teach now.
Yeah. So it sounds like you have a little operating agreement, your own personal operating agreement. You hit this, it's too far.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why knowing yourself is so important, because you have to know where your line is. And we all take abuse to a certain extent. There are always situations in which we don't want to engage, but we take it up to a certain point. And you have to know what that line is before you reach it, because otherwise it will crush you. So I always tell people, if you're going to be a leader, and it really applies to anything, but know what your core values are so that when you get to that point, you can just bounce if you need to bounce, or pivot if you need to pivot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. And you just said, oh, I just teach now. And I know you were just saying that, but obviously for us, it's more than just you teaching, because the the impact you may have had as an administrator, you're having that and so much more as someone who is professor, that for us, many different walks of life see you as someone that we feel that we connect with, that understand, that has, shown us, how we can make this possible, working against our imposter syndrome. So I just wanted to say, of course, I understand what you meant, but you don't just teach. Like you bring so much to us and your classes. So.
Thank you. And that would have been something I said, right? No, you're not just.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct your language. Let me help you correct your language. Yeah, so I just got corrected. See, I But you're absolutely right. One of the things that I love doing right now is seeing what your strengths are and helping you use them, right? And that's why I try to get to know people so that I could say, oh, this looks like you. Just no. This is when you light up. When you're talking about this, you light up. So move in that direction. That brings me so much freaking joy. It really does. And to be able to go to work and have joy, there is nothing better than that. And I wish that for everybody. Find that one little piece of thing that brings you joy and move closer and closer to it. Spend more time doing that. People are like, what do you mean that's your retirement job? Don't you want to retire? And look, y'all, I can grade on the beach. Right? I have Zoom meetings. This is the Jetsons. This is a privileged life. And I get to meet y'all and see people say they're going to do things and they do it. What more could I ask for? This right here is a manifestation of what was going on in Dr. Douglas's brain before she was Dr. Douglas. Right? I have imposter syndrome too. Not anymore. I haven't lately, right? But I had it a lot. And now I just get to see y'all doing stuff. Great things.
Yeah, I have to share a quick story. So about 2 months ago, there was a student that's in the first year program, and she was working on something, and so she was like, "Oh, you should talk to Lavanya. She might be able to help you." Now, mind you, this is January 2025. So we exchanged emails, she reached out, she went and looked at my LinkedIn page. So my LinkedIn page, I don't have food types that's not gonna wear, they're not comfortable. And don't have this latest shirt. Right? And so she was like, oh, she's the one because clearly she's not normal. And so we met a couple times virtually, and so she was like, this is so much better if I was practicing. I was like, oh my God, sure. And she's like, I am going. I'm going to Believe for a month. And I said, I'm gonna go. Guess what? For 2 weeks, I was working in Believe in 1 week in February, 1 week in March. Working for Believe while we're there, we're creating leadership programs that will allow the Africa, because she's from Nigeria, so we're figuring out all the great things that we can do. All because Dr. G said, you should be. And so a small thing that she did now will impact the world, because she knew what my strength was. She saw something in her that meant that you connected that quickly. She first year, second year. So that quickly she saw something. And someone's like, no, I don't even look through anymore. She's like, you guys should connect. And now we're figuring out how to get the things. So it's just, so you talk about knowing people's strength and what they're that quick. All this stuff is going to happen because of her. So she's just, she is Dr. Okay?
But here's the magic of the program, though. You responded, right? One of the things that I know for sure is that if I contact someone and I say, look, I need you to talk to this person, just give them 30 minutes. That's going to happen, because I don't always ask people for stuff, right? And I've tried to build relationships so that if I do have to ask, and I don't think it's ever for me, if I do have to ask, I'm not coming to you, without having already given something, right? because it's important that people connect. It's important that everyone connect. Because we got to run the world. It's a hot mess right now. I'm sorry. Ooh.
It's not.
It's
Because it is a hot mess.
Y'all said unregulated.
We are not normal, okay? And we want to teach everybody to be operating your authentic self. You don't have to fit no box. That's not what we do. That's why we call it unregulated. That she talks about knowing who you are and being who you are. That's what you can't change the world by being somebody.
No, you sure can't.
By being it.
Ooh, yes. Yes.
Sorry.
That's all right. It's true. It's true. That's why I made sure I drank my coffee this morning.
I love that. So you've taken us through some pivotal moments, the peaks, the valleys. I would love to know, what is your biggest leadership fail?
Ooh. That's a good. I should have read these questions. That's a good question.
I mean, it doesn't have to be your biggest, but just a moment where you didn't show up the way you wanted to.
Oh, that happens often. It happens when I don't have enough coffee.
Okay.
It happens when I don't have enough sleep.
Yeah.
It happens when home isn't going right. It happens when my family's in trouble. And so the reason why I'm saying it that way is because it happens, right? And people shouldn't give up when things don't go the way they anticipate them going, right? When I was terminated from my job, it was December, late November, December. So the holidays were coming. And for 3 weeks, I did not tell my family I was terminated. I got my car every day. I went to work. Because it was almost Christmas, like, right? And you have a 4-year-old, and yeah. And so for a while, I thought maybe I shouldn't have spoken to the AG, right? But the truth of the matter is, if they wanted to fire me, they were going to fire me anyway. And my core values were such that they were the ones that screwed up. They were the ones who were taking advantage of people, and I could not. Once I figured out what was going on, right, I could not let that happen. So it wasn't a fail. I think the fail was that I initially blamed myself for getting fired, right? And this was some years ago. Yeah. But the reality is that it wasn't a failure. And I think one of the reasons why I'm having such trouble responding to this question is because I look at situations and I try to pull the good out of them, right? So I don't necessarily think that things that don't go my way are failures. I look at that particular place of employment, and there are a few people that I still keep in touch with. And had I not had that experience, I would not have met those people, right? I would not have known them. And that's how I tend to look at things. We share a space and time for a reason. And so as a result of that, I have to be okay with whatever it is that happened, because it led to something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always think it's not that you failed or things didn't go right.
Yeah.
It's what you do next.
Yep.
It's like the next right thing.
Yeah.
And pull you out of that. And the lessons are so valuable.
Woo, yeah.
And it seems like you've taken the lessons from these moments that didn't go right and you've applied them.
Yep.
So like, even you shared that you're going through something right now.
Yeah.
How has that helped you to walk through what you're walking through right now?
Well, I recognize that I need to keep that job because my daughter's going to go to college. I got to pay for it. So again, it's figuring out what that balance is, right? How much are you going to tolerate for whatever it is you need to do? And we all have that in different ways, right? And so the other thing is, and I said this to one of my good girlfriends the other day, just understand you're not going to get your ha-has from there, right? There's a reason why you are in this experience doing this activity. So as long as you know you're not going to get your ha-has from there, don't expect it. Expect that you're walking into a battle every day. Expect that you're going to go there, do your 9 to 5 or whatever it is, and you're going to bounce. Get your ha-has from someplace else. I am about framing my narrative and not letting people do that for me. So if I want to go there and do something extra, I will. If I don't, I won't.
Right.
I'm not going to give them everything. They own 35 hours of my week, and that's it.
It's like you have this clear purpose. You're like, this is my purpose. I'm making money. Or
that's it.
This is like...
No, you said it right.
Okay. I didn't want to presume.
No, health insurance and making money.
Making money.
That's it.
But if every day is tied to, this is my purpose today. It isn't to
Right.
get the ha-has or the fun or the joy. I'm getting that somewhere else.
Yep.
It makes it easier to show up every day.
It does.
Because you understand that's not for this.
Yep. That's what and I use it in all aspects of life. For those of you who will be working with me on DPs or who are already working with me on DPs, I said, pick something that you know you are interested in. Pick something that is tied to your purpose, because for 3 semesters, you're going to have to deal with it. And in semester 3, you are going to want to stop, but you have to know what your purpose is. Right? And then you can finish. Right? You have to know, you have to plan. What is it that you're trying to do with your life? Because if you don't know, you're just going to walk around in a circle. And circles aren't bad if you want to walk around in the circle. But if you don't, like, get off the wheel.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because as I've gotten older, I turned 57 this year, right? Which I can't believe. Because my mom did not live to be 55. My father did not live to be 52. And so when it was time for me to turn 55, there was this angst because I'm like, am I going to make it? Am I going to make it? And I made it. So because I made it, I had to do something, right? Because the fact that I was spared beyond my parents' time meant that I was supposed to do something. At that point, that's when I realized I don't care anymore. People are going to think whatever they're going to think, but I'm here. So I have to live my purpose. And sometimes that doesn't look like what people want it to look like, right? They want me to show up and be very nice and quiet. They don't know me. And they want me to toe the line, but that's not what I do. Because I'm an Aquarius. We don't do that. And now I have relationships with people who don't expect me to do that. And they don't want me to do that. Y'all don't want me to do that because I think now people rely on me to say, no, that's not right. And you can't do that to this person. Like, we're not going to treat this person any kind of way. And so people call me and they're like, Dr. Tuesday, look, this is what's going on. I'm just going to tell you this is what's going on and I need help. And then I'll say, okay, don't get involved. Let me fight that battle for you. Because I have my degree. Y'all still trying to get your degree. You don't need to fight that battle. Let me fight it for you. That's when I think that's part of what makes me unregulated, right? Because we fight on behalf of others. But we also recognize that people don't fight fair. So sometimes you need to cut them off at the knees. But you can't, you can now because you're a doctor. Y'all can't be the ones cutting people off at the knees. It has to be people who have already been through that process, right? Because we're coming before you and we're holding the door open. And we're not supposed to make it easy, right? But it doesn't have to be hard just because we had a hard way to go. I realized that when I was working here probably a year. And I said, just because my doctoral journey was difficult, I had committee members that fought. I had to cut some of those people off. But I said, y'all don't have to have that experience, right? You don't have to fight with your faculty members. Let me do that. Let me tell them, get up, leave that person alone. This is not your DP. It's their DP. Let them write about what they want to write about. You know,
I have a vision. And the vision is that for unregulated leadership, I feel like all first years. Because if you get it at the very beginning, you take it. And so we're gonna have you on.
See, here we go.
TBC.
We're gonna have you on for one of the segments every spring semester to have this very conversation.
You're going to have to remind me of what the conversation is.
It's about purpose. I mean, because it's who you are. So I can ask any question and who you are will show up. But it doesn't matter what we ask you. And so that's what I love about it, because you live who you are. You talk about creating a DP that's purposeful. I'm still working on my DP now to make it a usable product that people can buy because of that advice that you gave me. And I switched what my original one was so that it could be something that I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about it. I even have students now in the NLP program helping me with that dot project because of that advice. So what she's saying is not like, doesn't sound good. It's actually like I lived what she's saying, and I didn't even know what her answer was going to be. You know, so this is what people need to hear. But I had the opportunity to meet her early on, but she was also one of my she's and so
What
was that 3? Number 3?
What?
No, I was in your chair.
You was my the second.
Okay.
April was my first. Like,
that's right.
The combination, the pairing. Like anyway,
I love.
So would you want to do that? You want to
sure. I'll do whatever you want me to
No
do.
pressure.
What am I gonna say? No on the camera? No. So let me tell you what's gonna happen, world. I'm gonna say no, which I'm not gonna say no, but she's gonna email me, or she's gonna send this one over here after me, or another student. They're gonna say, Dr. Tuesday, we know you said no, but we also know you're gonna make time, so just let me know when you can do it. This is how it goes.
So how much time do you have? We'll put you in that slot.
That's right. I'm like, no, I have to do this, this, and this. Next thing I know, all of a sudden I have all this free time because things have moved, right? And I didn't know they were moving, and here I am.
We're so glad.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for asking.
Yes, it's incredible.